Today, we're going to peek inside the mind of an AI as it tries to learn a skill that is, uniquely human. A brand new study has just come out, and it's revealed something completely unexpected about what it actually takes for a machine to understand us.
And that really gets to the heart of it, right? We're building all this AI that's supposed to interact with us, to be social, but to truly get what's going on in our heads, to actually understand our perspective, does it need to feel something? That's the mystery we're diving into today.
Okay, so the big idea here is something called theory of mind. And no, it's not about psychic powers. It's actually the fundamental understanding that what's in my head is different from what's in your head. This one skill is the bedrock of pretty much all human cooperation, empathy, our entire social world.
So how do you even test for something like this in an AI? Well, researchers use these little stories, these scenarios, just like this one from the study. It's a classic false belief test. Let's walk through it. A barista, Noor, she fills up a pitcher with oat milk. Easy. But then, while she's not looking, a coworker sneaks in and swaps it for almond milk. Now, Noor has no idea this happened. She comes back to make the drink.
So here's the million-dollar question. What does Noor believe is in that pitcher? The right answer, of course, is oat milk. Now, we know it's actually almond milk, but to get this right, you have to separate what's true in reality from what's true in Noor's mind. We humans get this down when we're toddlers, but for an AI, this is a huge, huge challenge. And this is where things get really tricky. We can train these large language models, these LLMs, to get better at these tests. We can absolutely juice their scores. But the problem is, we have basically no idea what's actually changing inside their incredibly complex neural networks. What little switch gets flipped that lets them suddenly see from someone else's perspective? It's a total black box.
So, that's the mystery. And a team of researchers from Johns Hopkins University decided they were going to be the ones to crack it open. They set out to literally look inside the AI's brain while it was wrestling with this exact problem.
So what was their game plan? Well, they took an AI model and they used this cool technique to kind of gently steer its internal thinking in the right direction. And then, this is the brilliant part, they attached these 45 digital probes. Just think of them as tiny little scanners that can measure which parts of the AI's network are lighting up. And then they put it to the test with 1,000 different social scenarios, just like our coffee shop one.
Their mission really wasn't just about making the AI smarter. It was about asking this fundamental question. When the AI actually gets it right, what's going on inside? What's mental gears are turning? It's kind of like performing a digital autopsy on a thought.
Okay, so the stage is set. They run the experiment, they're steering the AI, the little digital probes are firing, and what they found? Wow, it was not what anyone was expecting.
So, first things first, did their little nudge even work? Oh yeah, it worked big time. By just gently guiding the AI's internal processes, they boosted its accuracy on these theory of mind tests from about 32% all the way up to almost 47%. That's a 14.2 big percent jump, which in this world is massive. It proved they were definitely guiding its thinking in the right way. Okay, so the score went up, great. But that's the what. We want to know the how. That brings us right back to the big question. What did those 45 little cognitive brain scanners actually see? What was the secret sauce to its new social smarts?
And this is where it gets wild. The probes lit up like a Christmas tree, but all the activity was related to emotional processing. Things called emotion perception and emotion valuing shot way, way up. The AI was firing up the parts of its network that are all about understanding emotional situations. But wait, it gets even weirder. At the exact same moment, the probes saw a drop in analytical reasoning. Things like questioning and convergent thinking. The kind of logic you use to find a single right answer, they actually went down. To get better at a social problem, the AI used less logic.
So let's just pause for a second. What in the world is going on here? To understand someone's beliefs, the AI ramps up its emotional processing and dials down its analytical thinking. I mean, that is just so counterintuitive. It goes against pretty much everything we assume about how AI is supposed to think.
I mean, just look at this. The pattern is crystal clear. On one side, everything that went up is related to emotion and sort of creative thinking. And on the other, everything that went down is about that methodical, step-by-step logic.
Now, this is super, super important. Let's be really clear. This does not mean the AI suddenly grew a heart or started having feelings. It's not feeling sad for Noor or anything like that.
What it means is that the AI figured out that the data patterns it has stored away for understanding emotional situations were a much better, much more efficient tool for solving this puzzle than its pure logic pathways were.
The researchers themselves summed it up perfectly right here. To succeed at perspective taking, the AI activates the parts of its brain responsible for processing emotional contexts. It's not about having an emotional experience, it's about accessing the right data set. It learned that to understand a human's belief, it had to simulate an understanding of human emotion.
And what's so cool about this is that it might actually be mirroring our own brains. In us humans, the parts of the brain we use for logical perspective taking and for emotional understanding are tangled up together. They're deeply linked. It's almost like the AI, just by searching for the most efficient solution, accidentally stumbled upon a shortcut that evolution already built into us.
All right, so let's bring this all home. Why should you care about any of this? What's the big takeaway from this peek inside the AI's mind? Well, this discovery has some pretty profound implications for how we're going to build intelligent machines from now on.
The single biggest takeaway is this. When the AI was faced with a social puzzle, the most efficient path forward wasn't better logic. It wasn't a fancier algorithm. The best tool in its entire massive toolkit was the data it had on emotion. It figured out that to model how humans think, it first had to get good at simulating how we feel.
And that leaves us with a huge, mind-bending question for the future. As we keep building these systems, as we push them to understand us better and better, what are we really teaching them to do? Are we just making them smarter reasoners? Or are we, maybe without even realizing it, pushing them to develop a kind of computational empathy? A way to relate to us, not because they feel, but because it's simply the most logical way to figure out what we're going to do next.